Helena Petrovna Blavatsky explicitly taught that under certain exceptional circumstances, an earthbound entity is not merely an empty astral shell or a nature spirit, but the actual conscious human soul, the personal ego, trapped on the lower astral plane, Kamaloka. Under normal circumstances, the higher soul quickly enters a dreamlike state, separates from its lower emotional vehicles, and ascends to Devachan, the heaven world. However, Blavatsky outlined specific situations where the conscious soul remains earthbound. The primary exceptions: premature and violent deaths. Blavatsky taught that every human is born with a specific reservoir of vitality intended to last a full lifetime. If physical life ends prematurely, that life force energy remains unspent. The person has lost their physical body, but their lower astral and emotional vehicles remain fully active. Suicides. The state of the soul. The conscious soul remains fully awake and trapped in the lower astral realm for the remainder of what would have been their natural lifespan. The experience. Desperate for physical sensation, suicides often obsessively relive the emotions that led to their death. They are drawn to seances or vulnerable individuals, sometimes acting as parasitic or vampiric entities to experience physical life vicariously. Victims of accidents or murder. The state of the soul. Because their natural lifespan was cut short, the soul remains in Kamaloka until that allotted time expires. Pure individuals. An innocent or spiritually minded victim typically sleeps peacefully in a dream state until their time runs out, after which they ascend normally to Devachan. Depraved individuals. A victim who dies filled with hatred, revenge, or intense earthly desires remains conscious and active on the lower astral plane as a dangerous entity, classified by Blavatsky as an elementary. Extremely materialistic persons. Even with a natural death, an individual who lived purely for selfish, physical passions without spiritual aspiration creates a lower nature so dense that the higher soul cannot detach. The conscious lower soul remains earthbound in the lowest subplanes of Kamaloka until its lower desires eventually burn out. Summary of Blavatsky's classification. Standard seance ghost, Kamarupa, no conscious soul present. An empty, decaying astral shell or emotional memory left behind after the real soul has departed. Earthbound suicides and criminals, elementaries conscious soul is present. The actual lower ego is trapped in Kamaloka due to unspent life force and intense earthly passions. Accident or murder victims. Conscious soul is present, though often dormant. The real soul remains on the lower astral plane until its natural lifespan clock runs out. Alice Bailey built directly upon H.P. Blavatsky's occult foundation, particularly in her writings on death, the astral plane, and mediumship, most notably in Esoteric Healing, a treatise on white magic and death. The Great Adventure. While Bailey agreed with Blavatsky's core premises regarding spirit communication and the lower astral plane, she expanded the concepts using a more structural, scientific framework based on the 7 rays and energy centers, chakras. Mediumship and Spiritism. Lower versus higher communication. Like Blavatsky, Bailey strongly criticized traditional spiritualist mediumship. She made a sharp distinction between psychism, passive, lower astral mediumship, and telepathy/inspiration, mental, soul-to-soul communication. The danger of the solar plexus. Bailey explained that mediums operate primarily through an overdeveloped or uncontrolled solar plexus chakra, which acts as a receptive door to the astral plane. True spiritual communication, according to Bailey, occurs via the head and heart centers, bypassing the astral body entirely. Glamour and illusion. She viewed the lower astral plane as a realm of glamour, emotional illusion. She asserted that most spirit messages received at seances are not from high spiritual guides, but are emotional projections, thought forms, or astral echoes picked up from the astral light by the medium's open solar plexus. Suicides, violent deaths, and premature severance. Bailey confirmed Blavatsky's teachings regarding premature death, emphasizing the physics of the etheric cord, the silver cord. Unspent karma and energy. When a person dies naturally, the etheric cord detaches gradually and naturally. In violent deaths or suicides, the etheric cord is severed by force before its ordained cycle has ended. The suicidal state. Bailey agreed that individuals who commit suicide remain awake and conscious on the lower astral plane. Because the vital life force, prana, allocated for that incarnation is unspent, the conscious ego remains trapped in kamaloka for what would have been the remainder of its natural lifespan. She noted that these souls suffer mentally because they find that taking their physical body did not extinguish their emotional distress. They remain trapped with the exact same consciousness and problems, minus a physical vehicle. Accidents and war victims. For those killed suddenly in accidents or battle, Bailey noted that the sudden projection into the astral realm can cause confusion. However, unless the individual was deeply evil or attachment-ridden, higher invisible helpers, the etheric rescuers or nurses, assist them on the astral plane to help them sleep or adjust safely to their transition. Earthbound souls and astral entities. Bailey maintained the same distinction between conscious trapped souls and non-conscious remnants. Astral shells. Kamarupa, she confirmed that after the conscious soul ascends toward the mental plane, it discards its emotional vehicle. This disintegrating astral shell retains a habit memory of the deceased person and can be inadvertently reanimated by a medium's vital energy during a séance. Elementaries and lost souls. Bailey agreed that highly materialistic or selfish individuals remain tethered to the lowest subplanes of the astral world. Because their desires are entirely physical, their conscious focus remains bound to the Earth's atmosphere until those lower emotional forces exhaust themselves. Thought forms. Bailey added a heavy emphasis on man-made thought forms. She noted that many ghosts or séance phenomena are not entities at all, but powerful, persistent thought forms created by the living or collectively by groups that take on a temporary pseudo-life on the astral plane.